Hello and welcome to Ego Netcast. Today I will talk to Gary Shouldis. Hi Gary.
Hey Martin, how you doing, buddy?
Good, yourself?
Good, not too bad. Nice to talk to you again.
Yeah, so how are things? Where are you located right now?
Currently, born and raised in the States. We are in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, enjoying a nice warm summer. We used to live up in Toronto, so kind of similar to you. Used to some long winters. So yeah, we just recently moved down south, and we're enjoying the weather down here.
Great to hear. I will start out reading from your Twitter profile. And it's a Gary Shouldis, and it's at Free Bug Media. So I will bug you now. Web marketer and Wordpress geek, founder of Free Bug Media, helping business owners grow their web presence and their bottom line. The Small Biz Express.com and Free Bug Media. And at the moment you have about 4,220 followers, and you're following around 3,026, including me.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure when's the last time I updated that Twitter profile, but yeah, thanks for the intro.
It's a neat. I often use that because it's short and condensed. You have to have in this Twitter profile, I think it's like 160 characters or something like that. So I mean, and you could get the personal element in it also, like a hobby or interest or whatever. So you are saying that you're a geek of WordPress. What's that meaning?
Yeah, I guess the term geek is somebody who's really into something. I guess that's not maybe as mainstream or popular.
Yeah.
And I think when I wrote that, I guess first and foremost for me, I'm a small business owner, but I've been blogging since 2007.
Yeah.
So probably like yourself, you've been podcasting and blogging for a really long time before it was popular. And I think WordPress is one of those platforms that I kind of gravitated to early on, just because it was an easy blogging platform, and kind of watched it grow over the years into kind of a full functioning content management system.
Yeah, it's impressive how increased in popularity and usage and many users. That's fascinating. So what's happening in your life right now? With you said work, you have projects, hobbies, etc.
Yeah, pretty busy. Pretty busy right now. We have, I have my web marketing company, 3Bug Media. So we're a web marketing company. So we help businesses, with their online marketing, whether that's pay-per-click marketing, search engine optimization, banner ads, content marketing like blogging, things like that. So that's our core business. I've been running a blog for several years, the Small Business Playbook.com, and I believe that's how we originally met several years ago through that blog, through some online communities, and probably my most recent project is the Small Biz Express, and that is a small business podcast. So we've been podcasting. I believe we launched it in November 2013, and it's going really well. It's a nice, it's definitely an emerging medium, podcasting, and it's exciting to do. And I know you've been doing it for a really long time.
Yeah, I started out 2006, but I haven't been regular, and I must say I'm very impressed with your how to say your series that you did for like about 30 episodes. Then you did your pivot. Could you call it that way? And took a podcast break for some time.
Yeah. I think we published probably about 33 episodes. Yeah, somewhere around there. And I have a co-host, Mike Monroe, who you know
He's
as well.
He's pretty invisible, right?
Yeah. Mike's kind of the radio personality on the show.
Invisible boss.
Yeah, and. So it's been going really well, and we're kind of in that stage. We've been doing it for about 7-8 months now, and we're kind of revisiting the show right now. We've gotten great feedback from it, but we've decided to make some changes to it and kind of rework the format and see how we can improve on it from, based on feedback and our own evaluation. And yeah, we're excited. We're still podcasting, and we're kind of relaunching a newer format probably sometime in September.
Yeah. Anything you want to mention, or should we wait until September?
Yeah, it's probably on the user end. The format's going to be a little bit different. We're changing it up a little bit, and part of the reason that we're doing it is small biz. There's lots of small business podcasts out there, and a lot of really really good ones. Really high quality podcasts. But if you listen to them, a lot of them follow the same format. Especially the interview format is really popular in podcasting, where you get a subject matter expert, and you bring them on the show, let them talk about their expertise and their background, their history, and those are great. But what you kind of find is there's so many business podcasts out there that you'll find that same expert on half a dozen podcasts, and a lot of times the interviews and the story and things like that are very similar to each other. So we decided to try to get away from that format and see if we can come up with something different where we're talking directly to the small business owner, and we're kind of going a little bit deeper than kind of some of the surface level interviews that you may hear online.
Yeah, because right now we are doing some kind of interview, but with my twist in my way, and you of course as a guest. A question where could it be, as you said, it's same format, but it's like some kind of tour. People are doing it solely as a marketing tool to reach out or whatever, or what could that be? I think it's a big marketplace, so you will find all kind of great podcasts out there, and everybody, listeners and so on, could find their favorite. But it's interesting comment that you are doing there, that you reached that level and experienced and had some introspection and said, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah, and I think you're right about the marketing side of it. It's kind of like if you watch kind of like late night TV shows, like the Late Show, things like that. Most of the guests on there are there to promote a book or promote a new movie that's coming out, and you kind of get that on the podcast circuit. If somebody's coming out with a new book or they're launching a new product, things like that, and they want to kind of make the circuit and try to get their brand out there and get their business out there. And it can get redundant, but I think you're right though. It really depends on the interviewer and how they can add their own twists. And there are a lot of really good podcasts out there that do that. They take what could be a kind of tired format and add a different angle to it and a different twist. And it comes down to kind of conversations and the questions that you initiate with the person being interviewed.
Yeah, and we will talk about that because I have at around half time. We will talk about in total about 45 minutes or something like that, because you're a busy person and you're on your way to a meeting, and that's okay. And so that's what I have as a twist. I have thoughts on a philosophical principle, and then of course it's up to the flow and what's happening. So anything more you want to talk about? Projects with Mike or anything else new that you are up to, or hobbies it could be, or what's on your mind, Gary? So Gary, what's on your mind?
So talking, probably the big thing that we're working on right now is really the podcast. It's a new medium for us to reach our audience, and we're finding it really really interesting. It's really exciting, the podcast. Like I said, I've been blogging since 2007, and blogging has opened up so many doors for me, and I've met so many people and been able to grow an audience. But it's funny, we've been podcasting probably for about 7, 8 months, and we've almost reached the same I've almost done the same thing with the podcast that took me about 6-7 years to do with the blog, and I find that it's the medium itself it's much more personal.
Yeah.
When you're listening to somebody, when you literally have they're inside your ears and they're inside your head, and you're listening to their voice. So I find it's a little bit more of a personal connection with people.
Yeah.
Being able to reach them through podcasting.
And my reflection is that when I started blogging in 2002, I reached out and met people visited my blog due to the fact that I was personal. My blog is called Ego, I am in Latin. So I mean I have to take it like that. But I agree with you. And recently I listened to a video clip, watched a video clip with Marco something. Oh, what's his name? That creator of Overcast podcast app, and he said that that's the main difference, that you could be personal in a podcast, and that will be for a long run that the popularity of listening to podcast and also create podcast. So it will be here for a long time, I think. I don't see any contradiction or how to say that will compete, because now when I will do this interview and we uploaded it and so on and make a file of it, then I could embed it on my blog in a blog post. So because that's my hub. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the advantage podcasting as a medium has over other mediums is that, unless when it comes to blogging, unless you're a writer, writing can be difficult.
Yes.
I think most business owners and people, when they think they're going to start a blog and they say no problem, they've never written anything before. And I think once you sit down, in front of a computer and start to write, you realize that writing is challenging. To write a 800 or 1,000 word quality article can take you all day, and it's very time consuming. And even with video is definitely an emerging platform too. Definitely more popular than podcasting right now. But I think with video, the challenge is that it requires a lot of your senses to absorb it. So you need to be able to listen to it. You need to be able to watch it. So it's not as portable as audio. And I think that's where the audio format has its advantages, where, especially with the development of better portable electronic devices with cell phones and MP3 players, where people can just download you instantly or stream you instantly now, and be able to take you to the gym, be able to take you on their commute to work, at work, on their walk, when they're in the store. They can just listen to you around, whenever they want.
Yeah. So do you listen to plenty of podcasts when you're not so-called working? Do you go out and about and walking and listen to podcasts, or what's your favorite pastime when you want to listen to a podcast?
Yeah, I listen. I've always been a big fan of audio. I think I'm an auditory learner, and even when I was younger, back when it was books on tape or books on CD, and you're in the car listening to books, and you had 12 CDs for one book, you had to keep changing them and things like that. So I've been listening to it a long time. And I still listen to audiobooks, and I probably listen to about 15 to 20 podcasts on a regular basis. The thing that I really enjoy listening to audiobooks. The thing that I like about podcasting is that you can get very specific information, and you can get up-to-date information, whereas you can't get that through a book. Usually, by the time a book reaches the bookstore, it's probably at least 2 years old, the information in there. So, which is great for fiction, but if it's something like technology or new emerging media formats and things like that, it's probably outdated by the time it reaches the shelves. And that's where podcasting comes in, because everything's instantaneously. Like, by the time we finish this discussion, you could have it online in 20 minutes.
Yeah. And that's good, and I think you could, in a way, do that in a book also. I'm planning to write a book on tea, and I started with it, and you could have updates, and you could have corrections if something is so-called wrong, and feedback and so on, if you have a special place for it. And when you mentioned also audiobooks, I like to read regular books and smell them, take notes, flip through them, and so on. But I recently started listening to audiobooks, and now today I got a note from Audible trials that I could have affiliate there. So I will put that in the show notes. So people could, if they haven't started yet to listen to audiobooks on Audible, they could use that link. You are using Audible?
Yes, I've been using Audible probably for about 4 years now, and it's probably the easiest to use of the audio format of the audio software programs.
Yeah.
Actually, Amazon owns it now.
Yep.
And it works. It comes with the mobile apps and things like that, and you can download books instantly. And yeah, it's really easy to use. And I find that's my preferred way to read books is to put it on audio format, because it's hard to sit down and dedicate yourself to sit down and read a book, but it's a little bit easier when you're kind of on a commute or you're doing something else, and you can still listen to the book while you're doing something else.
Yeah, and with that we could do to joke a bit, a Segway, and it was a product that Bezos launched around the millennium. Do you remember that? The Segway, how would you say it, a scooter or a bicycle, or that was the thing that Bush, I think, stumbled upon maybe.
Yeah, I've never ridden a Segway before,
and I think it didn't change the world, but it had become pretty popular here in Sweden at fairs and special events. But his view was, I think it will revolutionize the walking and something between walking and driving. I see applications like on campuses, mailman, other things like that. But then, of course, here in Sweden we had a problem that bureaucrats and others would decide, is it a car or is it a mobile, somebody walking? Where should we put it? And Bezos' latest thing is this, what's this called? The mobile, his own mobile phone?
For who?
Bezos on Amazon. They have.
Yes, they launched a new mobile smartphone,
and
there.
People have now discussed if it's really good at developing products, or if you should stick to books and others. The thing what I understand with this is that you could, for example, scan other books if you're on another bookstore that's not Amazon because it's only online, or other stuff, and then you could compare, and then you could buy directly from Amazon instead. So
yeah, and I think when it comes to Amazon, a lot of their devices are primarily mediums to sell more stuff from their online store.
Yeah. So that's pretty smart, I think, and that's why I want to reach this now, the halftime, and talk about the trader principle. I mean, here we have a guy, an entrepreneur, started out with books, and now we have a whole slew of things on a free market, and he have really fighting for spreading good products at good price at the right time, like the purchaser's trinity, that you have a good quality, good price, for value for price, and delivery time or lead time. And I mean, he has had problems was it with affiliates? Was it in California that politicians and others wanted to the discussion about where is the VAT and between states and so on? So
yeah, it was ongoing tax issue currently in the States. The general rule is if you sell a product to somebody in another state from where you're located, you do not have to charge sales tax on there. And and I think some of the states are starting to change those laws so online e-commerce stores will have to start paying taxes.
Okay, so they want to intrude in your life. So what's your take then on the trade principle? Have you thought about that, or have you read anything by Miss Rand? Any thoughts about comparing the Canuck country, Canada and America, and and where we are headed?
No, I haven't read those things, but as far as commerce, I think commerce is slowly. I think it's still far away, but I think commerce is slowly becoming international. Just from living in Canada, we're neighbors with the United States, and there's still a lot of barriers to do commerce in between borders, and there's a lot of different laws and taxes involved, and for the most part, usually the person that loses on that end is the consumer. On there, but I think that's hopefully slowly going away, and I think eventually, as far as e-commerce, I don't know how far down the road, but I think eventually I should be able to order a product from Sweden and be able to have it sent here without heavy taxes or delays or customs or paperwork and things like that. So I think eventually it's gonna go that way.
Yeah, good to hear. We are together on that. So what's your future plans, or anything you want to add on that? Maybe if you have any suggestions on future guests, maybe it should be your co-host, Invisible Boss, or some topics.
Yeah, I think Mike would love to get on board there.
Yeah.
I think I guess when it comes to online, I think one of the big opportunities I think is growing is definitely e-commerce. E-commerce is really big right now, but if you look at it from a totality of all commerce, it's still a fraction of commerce, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for solo entrepreneurs and small businesses, especially if you have traditional brick and mortar businesses, to be able to get into the e-commerce space. It's never been easier to get involved with it, and it's never been easier to be able to launch your own store. Most of the technical challenges have been removed, and now it really comes down to your ability to market your online store. But it kind of really opens up your potential, the potential of your business. Whereas if you have a brick and mortar business, you're kind of confined with your geographic location and a certain radius around your store where people would be willing to drive to come to your store. But with e-commerce, I mean, you can sell, you can be where you are in Sweden and be able to sell to me in America, and now you've opened up a worldwide customer base.
Yeah. And I look forward to discuss that with you more in detail. We have talked a bit about that because you have experience, you said, with e-commerce, and you have helped companies that have brick and mortars, but also to put up e-commerce and web stores. And I have been invited to get involved in a new project selling online with clothing, and that will be very interesting with special text and slogans and so on, and see the opportunities and possibilities there. But also, as you say, that the brick and mortar, if they use it in a smart way, they could leverage it and be online and so-called offline also.
Exactly, and it's almost like being able to open multiple locations without the costs and overhead.
Yeah,
and yeah, I think it's one, and I think for more traditional businesses and more traditional industries, e-commerce is still a foreign concept.
Yeah,
for them.
Yeah,
yeah, and I think that's a big opportunity if you're willing to learn more about it.
Yeah. Could this be like a topic that you will discuss? I know you have talked about it on your podcast, but you will give like tips and tricks and so on for like a small store in a rural area that I've been thinking about that, because there's lots of things to think about before you open a web shop. I mean, it's how do you put stuff in it, how do you get paid, the marketing, how could it the synergy effects with your physical store and so on.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a lot of things to think about. And like I said, it's probably never been easier because a lot of those challenges have been taken care of what you would call hosted platforms that kind of take care of a lot of the technical things. So really for you, it's to upload your products and, get them on your e-commerce store and then just figure out how you're going to market them.
Because, I mean, that's a big business for Amazon also. I mean, you could have your own store on Amazon, or as they have also used books also that they connect through the Amazon shopping experience.
Yeah, and Amazon's a funny kind of a funny situation because they're by far and large the largest e-commerce store in the world, and you can't really compete directly with Amazon. You have to figure out your particular niche and being able to carve out your own set of products that are unique from Amazon. But they also help small businesses. They actually have a marketplace where you can actually sell your products through Amazon, and they'll handle fulfillment for you and things like that. So on the flip side, they actually partner with a lot of smaller e-commerce stores and a lot of smaller businesses where they allow them to sell their goods on the Amazon platform.
Yep, I agree on that. So any things that you want to say to the listeners, readers, fans of Ego Podcast on I mean, sometimes if you're an author or if you have some report or white paper or anything you want to tell the listeners there, or also where they could find you and your businesses and so on.
Yeah, well, my company's 3Bug Media. That's the number 3, BUGMEDIA.com. Probably where we're spending most of the time right now is our podcast, and that's the Small Business Express podcast.
Yeah.
And that's the Small Biz Express, BIZ, express.com podcast. And yeah, that's kind of where we're talking about things like this, about e-commerce and business and starting businesses. And things like that. And other than that, I'm looking forward to seeing your book. I know last time we talked, we were kind of picking that up again. So I'm excited to see the finished product.
Yeah, it will take some time, and it's, as you said, this writing process. It's challenging, but it's very enjoyable also. So. Great to hear that. Anything else that's bugging you in Free Dimensional? What's the name coming from? 3Bug Media.
3Bug Media is actually, it's several years old, and it actually stems from I have 4 kids, and when we started our company, we only had 3. And we used to call our little ones the bugs. And that's kind of how it morphed, 3Bug Media. So now technically, I guess it would be 4Bug Media. But it's kind of hard. We'd have to change our corporation.
Yeah, the 4th child, maybe he or she will start the 4Bug Media.
Yeah, maybe. So so that's how the name came about.
That's neat. Great. You could. I often say here for the record, where people could listen to me and watch and read and so on. But maybe I will put that over to as a fun thing to the guest. Where could listeners, readers, and so on find Ego Netcast? Do you know?
Well, I know you're on Stitcher.
Yes.
On there, I know you're on iTunes. I've downloaded subscribed to you on iTunes. I think where else? I know you probably know some of the blogging platforms more than me, but as far as us, we're on Stitcher, iTunes, and I think we're on Zune.
Yeah. Okay. Is that the
Zune.
Microsoft
Yeah, the Microsoft on there, but I don't think we get too many listeners from Microsoft.
Yeah, it's interesting to see there, and you will be able to find this interview here on egonetcast.com, and also I will put a link there on facebook.com/ego podcast, and then, as you said, on Stitcher, that you could listen on iPhone and Android, and I will probably also upload it on SoundCloud, because it's more geared toward music, but they have some neat features also that you could comment during the show. So maybe they will say something here in minute 35 or whatever, that Gary said this or Martin said that, and then they could click on that and comment around that time. So that's a neat feature. And then also I upload my files to Libsyn, so there you could find it also. And of course in different apps like this Overcast app. I could recommend that. Do you have an iPhone?
No, my wife has an iPhone. I'm an Android.
Yeah.
I'm an Android user, but I did notice you had a podcast app.
Yeah. And it had some neat feature, for example, that I got constructive criticism that my voice when I'm recording on my phone directly, that is pretty low, but then you could use this equalizer and boost the volume. So for example, if you're sitting on a tram or subway or bus or whatever, or noisy background, you will hear the sound and the podcast in a better way. And also when we listen to ourselves, Gary, if we say or be quiet like now, or something like that, you could use this feature that it speed up the listening, and take away the silence. But it does it in a natural way, so we don't sound like Donald Duck or something like that. Maybe it's a bit more speeding up, but it sounds good anyway. So that's interesting also, that this kind of feature.
Yeah, and it's a portable, and that's one of the nice things if you do like to record on the go, is that there's a lot of cool apps and software applications that let you actually record a show or record an interview from anywhere.
Yeah, I have this called Boss Shock app. It's like a recording, but it's also like a, how do you say, mixer also. So I could add music and jingles and sound effects, and that I could do in my iPhone or iPad. That's pretty amazing. And of course, I mean, if you have a recording studio and with high-tech equipment and others, you get a certain kind of level. But here you could do it on the go. Because you and Mike, you are doing it online, sitting different places when you record.
Yes, we record separately on our own computers, and then we kind of merge them online together.
Yeah. And I must, as an end note, thank you that you are recording it too, because we got a mishap somehow. I don't know if you should mention the name. We could do it. It was Skype. Something happened. They got bugged and kicked you out or something like that. So we have to start the recording again. So now I probably have to learn the GarageBand and do some mixing. But we will talk about that off air. So, but it's good to have extra backup. Things could happen like this, but I mean, everything would solve sooner or later, or in one way or another.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Gary, because you're heading to a meeting, anything you want to end with? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, just thanks for having me on, Martin. I've known you for I think several years now online, and we had the opportunity to speak a couple weeks ago. And I guess probably one thing I would add is I believe I met Martin on bizsugar.com, where you're a moderator, and that's probably a good resource if you're a small business owner, is to go check that out. And you can meet a lot of fellow entrepreneurs there and meet a lot of subject matter experts. And there's a really nice community there. A lot of conversations going on, a lot of good people that are there to help you out on there and kind of give you some camaraderie when you're growing your business.
Great to hear, Gary, and I appreciate your thought there. And I didn't tell you to say this, so I'm happy with that. So yeah, it's great how you could find in a forum and a bookmarking site and a community like that. Friendly people for market, for business owners. I enjoy it very much, and it's fun to be a moderator there and read good stuff and vote for good stuff, comment on so on. And we don't have to mention everything else that you have to take care of on a forum. That's for another podcast, I think. With if you have this English humor, what is called like spam, or it's an American dish. Do you like spam?
Yeah. Well, spam in America is actually canned.
Yeah, no, that's
canned ham.
But I heard it in Hawaii. It's a specialty.
Yeah, I think in Hawaii it's still very popular. As far as the rest of the U.S., I don't think so. I don't think many people eat spam anymore.
No, so because this podcast, Egonetcast, because my favorite beverage tea is listed as a food blog or food podcast. And now, yesterday I learned from a webinar with Entrepreneur on Fire that you could have several categories in iTunes. I didn't know that. So I will add that somehow. But now we could end on this food thing, and it will be categorized in the right way. So do you have any favorite dish in Carolinas that I should when I visit you and others? I have a good friend there also, so...
Yeah, you were telling me you had a friend down here. Yeah. I haven't, we haven't been down here too long, so I haven't had a chance to really dive into the local cuisine. But I think one thing that I've been enjoying down there is kind of a barbecue, barbecue ribs and things like that. I'm finding that they do really well down here. Now
I'm getting hungry, and we will have to figure out what goes well with barbecue and what kind of tea. Maybe some smoky lapsang souchong. I don't know.
So, that sounds good.
So with that, I will take a sip of my cup here with my own tea blend, T53, 3 black teas. And what's your beverage?
As far as tea, our beverage of choice is white tea. Yep. We're white tea drinkers, and we drink it in the evening. We find it soothes. It's kind of soothing at night, and it's not a heavy drink, and it's very low in caffeine. Mm-hmm. So it's a nice evening drink to kind of unwind after a busy day. Yeah, good to hear. So cheers to that, and nice talking to you, Gary, and talk to you soon again. Thanks for coming on the show. Sounds good. Cheers, Martin. Cheers. Radio,